Hello music listeners, underground enthusiasts, and people who don't tune their 808s. It's Mel, back with another project review, this time an EP review. I have been meaning to do a lot of album reviews, and I very quickly realized that they take a lot of work, believe it or not. This is an EP that dropped recently that I've really wanted to talk about, so we're just going to go ahead and get into it. And the EP in question would be Sick Future by Adjacen and Kid Mango, both of whose work I am only become increasingly familiar with over the past couple years, and I have appreciated their collaborative efforts in the past with Adjacen on production for a lot of Kid Mango songs. But this EP sees them in a new light, where we have a duo vocalist situation going on here where they are both kind of splitting the vocal effort and endeavors pretty evenly between the two of them. And with 3 songs, there is a very short runtime, and in that runtime, Adjacen and Kid Mango both provide their best efforts and their best energy to create a cohesive, collaborative work that showcases the best of both of their abilities. And I think they do so very well, actually. And the EP starts off with Prepare to Drop, which has these very ambient and atmospheric strings and this sort of bit-crushed synth, and these two elements combine to create a moody and hazy atmosphere that I think works really, really well. And I do love how the bass rumbles beneath everything, and despite its use, and despite Adjacen very much using 808s and bass and these super dark tones as a very blown out, super intense sound, in this song it kind of sits nicely in the back, and it doesn't really overwhelm the sounds of the other songs. And not to say that I think Adjacen's past usage of very blown out and distorted or saturated production, and not to say that I don't like that, because I really do love that, and it's what makes me, love a lot of Adjacen's unique and stylistic production. But on this track, I really do appreciate how the mix is set in the production. And Adjacen does come in with this super thick and upfront vocal mix, delivering his hook with this low, shaky, and kind of effortless tone that transitions very nicely into Kid Mango's confident, high-energy, braggadocious verse. Which is honestly just, flex after flex, bar after bar, with these sudden staccato endings to each line to instill this tension and suspense to the lyrics, waiting, to hear what Kid Mango says next. And this song is a flex, and although providing the occasional introspection, Prepare to Drop kicks off the EP with a passion, and no doubt that Adjacen and Kid Mango are not here to fuck around. So Move Slow quickly detaches from a lot of the aggrandizing and intense rap delivery to provide a more melody-oriented track with these twinkling and smooth production, this time with Adjacen and Kid Mango focusing more on aspects of relationships, while still subscribing to a lot of the themes presented in Prepare to Drop, maybe just more so those topics taking a bit of a backseat to some other areas of discussion. And the roles are also reversed here, this time Kid Mango delivering a hook and bridge while Adjacen takes the role of the verse. And Mango's synthesized and electric chorus sits very nicely over the steady tempo of the percussion and the super bright and sparkling melodies that Adjacen provides here in the beat. And then Adjacen's verse picks up the pace with some super fast-paced and fluid bars, and that have some really fun punchlines and presentation. I think the dynamic here works really well, and by the second song in the EP, we're halfway through already with only 3 tracks. But by this song, it's very clear that the dynamic between these two artists is one that has been cultivated and built over a very long period of time. These are artists that are very in tune with each other and are very in tune with what each of them can individually provide to create a larger collaborative effort that is defining for both of them. And the third track and final track would be Ready to Die, which returns to some of the wider and cinematic sounds introduced in Prepare to Drop. It feels comprehensive and all-encompassing, which is once again thanks to Adjacen's unique and powerful production prowess. And reinforcing these cinematic elements and tones is the vocal sample, which works really, really nicely here with the sort of reserved keys, and they both establish a nice foundation for everything else to rest on top of. Although they're borderline drowned out by the booming 808s and sharp snares, they fill out a space that would otherwise be unoccupied, leaving the song missing something. And I do appreciate production like this, where sometimes a lot of the elements of the production are not immediately noticeable or are not immediately recognizable or memorable, but they serve a specific purpose of filling out unoccupied space in a beat that, if left empty, would make the track kind of feel empty. And the melodies do this in a really effective way. It's very efficient, with them sort of taking a backseat and letting a lot of the percussion take over as the driving force behind the production in the track. And for this third and final track, a tonal shift happens, with Adjacent and Mango diving into some more emotional and introspective lyricism, and I think that this shift is appropriate. After two songs that boast this unwavering confidence, and an aversion to self-doubt, a third track in the same vein would be understandable. Why not finish it off with the same energy that you came in with? But I do appreciate the inclusion of Ready to Die here. It feels like a peek behind the curtains, where the listener is being presented with the personal situations that seem to fuel the personality of the first two songs. And on the performance side of things, I really do love the vocal delivery from both artists here. Adjacent's hook is tired and reflective of his perspective towards the situations in his life, weighing the risks of a relationship that both fuels and diminishes the validity of his emotions. And Kid Mango mirrors the sentiment on this verse, where it seems that multiple chances are given to somebody on multiple occasions, and despite Mango's grievances towards the situation, those flaws are also presented and viewed as a desirable thing, showing the mentality behind relationships that have a lot of pushing and shoving between the positive aspects. Overall, I really like Sick Future. It's very eclectic, with lots of unique influences and sounds and styles being presented here in a very compressed and condensed format. With only 3 songs, there's only so much that you can do, or so much that you can present, or so much that you can say. And I think that brevity is the key here. None of the songs run very long anyways, with all 3 tracks being pretty short. You don't really have a lot of time to say something. So the brevity in the lyricism, the brevity in the production, and the brevity in the tonality really works to Adjacent and Kid Mango's benefit, where you're only getting the best of what they have to offer, and no corners are being cut either. So honestly, if you like experimental hip-hop, if you like blends of synthesized and digital melodies with overblown and heavy and spacey percussion, then I think you would really like this EP a lot. I've listened to it quite a few times since I have, since it's released and since I've decided to review it. And every time I listen to it, I just find something, something small that I hadn't noticed beforehand to appreciate. And in an EP this short, that's really impressive in my opinion, to constantly be finding new things in a project that is already so condensed. So thank you all for watching. As always, I have more reviews coming up. Don't worry, I will review the Gex album. That will be a thing. I promise. Maybe. I'm kidding, that will be reviewed. But yeah, if you listened to the EP, please leave a comment about what you thought about it. And if you didn't listen to it, go listen to it. It'll take 10 minutes out of your day, and I think it's an interesting listen that'll really, maybe open up your mind to something new. Catch me at the next album review, where I review an album that everybody loves and absolutely just hate on it for 45 minutes. Bye.